Need a copy of that. It's the only video evidence that Nick Minner hasn't said something that was completely laced in sarcasm. First of all, congratulations to Roz, Shay, Nicole, and Greg. Very proud to share this evening with you. It's been great getting to see all the accomplishments each of you have amassed during your Radford careers. Very impressive stuff. What an honor it is to be standing up here in front of everyone tonight. I'm humbled to become part of Radford baseball history. Thank you to Robert Lindbergh and the committee for the recognition and nomination. Very excited to join the other 8 Radford baseball players who have already been enshrined. Several who I've come to know pretty well over the years. In our old locker room, we had a wall or a board hanging on the wall when you walked in of season and career records for individuals. Every day you walked in, this was the first thing you saw. I always looked at those names and thought to myself, that was the goal. Get on that board after you're done, give the next generation of players something new to shoot for. So, what a cool experience it's been getting to know the guys that came before me. These are the names we saw on the board. These are the players that paved the way. Speaking of paving the way, I know some of the members of the inaugural 85 team are here this weekend. Looking forward to chatting with them and hearing more about what it was like playing for Radford's first baseball team. And I'd be remiss not to mention Denny Van Pelt, who continues to be one hell of an ambassador for our program and for the university. Can't thank him enough for all he does behind the scenes and for what he has and continues to do for RU baseball. Thank you, Denny. As I was figuring out what to say for this speech, I kept coming back to what I believe was the most impactful decision in my life. And that was when I decided to leave my first high school. I went from knowing almost every kid in a 500-person class, kids that I grew up with, went to preschool with, to knowing one guy at politics. It was a decision I made when I was a 16-year-old kid. It's still crazy for me to think how different my life would be had I not decided to move schools in. Going to politics put me at Radford. A successful career at Radford gave me the chance to play baseball professionally. Playing in the Mets organization has been a talking point in job interviews, which ultimately led to a position I've been with the group for the last 10 years. It's funny how things tend to work out just the way they're supposed to. Hard to believe it's been almost 20 years since I came to Radford on my official visit. That's hard to believe. Went down there with Will Naylor, my roommate, and or my teammate at politics at the time. Will mentioned it in the video, but I told the story of how I got on Radford's radar a few months ago on the live stream with Denny and AJ. Long story short, as Will alluded to, Chip Schaffner, who was the pitching coach at the time, saw Will at the George Mason camp. He reached out to my high school coach, Billy Emerson. After they got done talking about Will, he said, are there any other players I should look at as well? And Billy said, yeah, I've got a guy for you. And the rest was history. Honestly, I came down for that visit thinking I probably wouldn't end up at Radford. I thought it probably just wouldn't have been a fit. But, soldier that I am, convinced myself to keep an open mind and power for the weekend. One night going out with the guys on that team set me straight. Pretty well. This was a close-knit group of players, and they absolutely knew how to have a good time. It didn't take me long to decide this was the place I wanted to be. Our first 2 years were tough as a team, and that's probably an understatement. Then we had a coaching change after my sophomore year. I was coming off a pretty good season and got a few calls from other schools, found out our coach had left. Probably could have gotten a release and played right away rather than having to sit out a year. And with the way things are now, it's almost the norm for kids to jump after, particularly after a good year. But as tough as our first couple of seasons were on the field, I loved being here. I love being around my teammates. I wanted to be a part of the turnaround, and I thought the pieces were here to do it. It was another decision I could have been happier I made, and of course I wouldn't be in this position otherwise. As most people know, baseball has the ability to knock you on your butt at times, and I'm certainly no exception. There are a number of people, most of whom are sitting in the room, that deserve most of the credit for me standing up here tonight. So I feel like in any speech, these guys are all thanking their wives. Well, the best gift I could ever give my wife is the fact she did not know me during most of my playing days. She'll tell you herself it's painful enough being around me after a round of golf. Scrutinizing every shot, how could I have done it differently, and I'm not even that good a golfer. It's 100 times worse when I was playing baseball. So, you're welcome, man. But in all seriousness, she's been amazing, incredibly understanding over the years, putting up with all the hours I spend coaching my travel teams, and that's on top of time spent on my actual career in traveling. She knows just how important baseball is to me and how important it is for me to stay involved. Also want to acknowledge my late father-in-law, Jeff Hickory, who passed away 2.5 years ago. He was at my high school Hall of Fame induction, and he would have loved to be here tonight. One of the nicest people I've ever known and loved talking baseball. We miss him every day. My teammates. So I think that everyone knows that baseball players, like most athletes, are complete ball busters. They have the innate ability to keep you grounded, level-headed, making sure that you don't get too high when you're going good. But at the same time, they're the ones who can pick you up when you're at your lowest, when you're hanging on by a thread. My roommate, Will Naylor, would spend more time with me than anyone during our 4 years here. Stephen Ellis, who I grew up playing baseball with before we committed to Radford. Nate Toth, we played together here for 3 years. He was our volunteer assistant while he was pursuing an advanced degree, and now we coach together. He can't get away from me. Nick Menner, who was on the video, he was down, and he mentioned he was down in in Atlanta this past summer, one of our bigger tournaments, watching a couple of games with my team. His son was actually the bat boy for us. And seeing Nick's son interact with 16-year-olds on my team was surreal, particularly considering how immature he and I were not that long ago. And now we're the ones trying to set the example. Matt Rizzuto, who I'm pretty sure my parents legally adopted as one of their own after a summer ball season in 2006. Every one of them also a groomsman in my wedding. These guys have turned into my closest friends, and it means the world they're here tonight. My coaches. I've had 2 coaches that really had a significant impact on my career. Billy Emerson, you saw in the video, my high school coach who also had me in 2 college summer ball seasons. I came to Billy and Paul VI after a terrible sophomore experience at my first high school that had me rethinking baseball entirely. After transferring, I was a different player. I was playing with confidence again. I really didn't look back from that moment on, and I have Billy to thank for that. The other, Joe Rakuya. Like with most people in my life, I'm sure there were days I did not make it easy on him. Tarp pole incident is something we all still talk about. A night I hope Joe can finally at least smile, if not laugh about. So many things for our team changed for the better once he arrived in 2007. I'm grateful for what he did for the program and more importantly for what he did for my experience as a player. Radford baseball is better today because of Joe. My brother Michael. Being dragged out to the field by a quarter or sibling who's 3 years older and has you by roughly 50 pounds is, it can wear anybody down. But to his credit, he never said no. And some of the best memories I have growing up are of us playing basketball, football, wiffle ball, whatever it was. Although basement baseball was probably my favorite, Mom loved what that did to her walls down there. Speaking of my mom, my poor mother, who all my friends joke about how there is 0 chance I could have come from that saint of a woman. She probably felt at times that she was put on this earth for one thing, and that was to pitch to me. First, it was an annoying 3-year-old chasing around the house with a foam yellow bat and ball. Then I graduated to the big red plastic bat with a massive barrel. I'm sure everybody knows that. I mean, I was like a little Herb Brooks from the movie Miracle, again. But nothing compares to the batting cage. 2 words that I'm sure still give my mom PTSD. We had a cage put in our backyard when I was 12 or 13, which I can probably point to as one of the main reasons I was as good a hitter as I was, but I was constantly in that cage. With my dad traveling for work quite a bit, my mom was left to feed the pitching machine and enjoy the hours of rage and anger that ensued when I wasn't hitting the ball high. For everyone's benefit, I'm not going to dive into specifics, but I will say this, that if there was any wrong that my mom ever did in her entire life, that time in the cage more than made up for it. My dad. Being the father of a baseball player is hard for many reasons. On one hand, you get to see your kid go through the highest of highs. But with a game of failure like baseball, more often than not, you see the lowest of lows. And I would imagine as a parent, there's nothing more difficult. Then there's knowing when and how hard to push, and sometimes knowing when to say nothing at all. There's no script because every kid is so different. Every single thing I've accomplished in this game I owe to my dad. That's not to say every day growing up was easy. There were days we wanted to kill each other. He pushed me hard, sometimes to within an inch of my sanity. But he was also my biggest fan. And I'm a far stronger person today because he did things the way he did. I couldn't be more thankful that he was able to see so many high school and college games, and that he's here tonight to see me receive this honor. Words cannot possibly express my appreciation and gratitude for the sacrifices both of my parents made for my brother and I know I don't say it enough, but I love you both. During my college career, I never won Player of the Year. I was runner-up 5 different times, twice at Radford and 3 summer seasons. But I look at it like I look at batting average. I'm still a believer that batting average is the measure of how good a hitter was over an extended period of time. Anyone can have a good day, a good week, month, or even a good season. I always believed the difference between good players and great players was the ability to be consistent. And to me, a Hall of Fame nomination recognizes a consistent, complete body of work. That's why this is so special. Baseball has provided me with countless memories that I'm going to hold on to forever, many of which happened during my 4 years here at Radford. I'm lucky to have had the guidance from fantastic coaches and to have played with some incredible players over the years. Fortunate to have created lifelong friendships with the best teammates along the way. I'm proud to have competed with the Radford name across my chest, and most importantly, I'm grateful to have had the love and support from my family and friends throughout what was an unforgettable ride. Thank you very much.